shit.
And we're live.
And they say that steroids are not in jail. Bull. That's some bull.
Síguelo viendo para que se ponga en mi algorithm ahorita. Que agarre mi teléfono.
Welcome back, guys, with part 2 of Living the Dream with Luis and Ray.
I have a quick question.
Today's episode,
Sorry.
we are going to go a little bit more of a serious tone.
Why'd you look at Sunia?
And we're going to be discussing business strategies, and more strategies of business. You have a question?
That's it.
Make it professional, please.
Oh, well, it has to do a little bit with business. Why would a businessman put in quotation marks algorithm? Elon Musk on a tweet. It's just in my mind. It's just popped in the head.
I have no idea.
He posted. They were
Bombarded. Yeah. Question one, business.
He said
no answer.
He said they're working on the algorithm and put it in their under quotation marks. And why was algorithm in quotation marks?
What do you think, Suniga? In a business standpoint.
Like, is there no one algorithm that we're thinking about, or
I don't think there's just one code. I don't think there's just one system. I think it's like a conglomerate of systems. It's like a
so to assume
like
that it's like a universal thing
would be erroneous.
Irrational.
Kind of like the way we think AI is.
Right. We have right now. There's only one, not one, but right now we know of one AI, which is OpenAI. That's the one that we know exists, and that's the one people are using. That OpenAI created, but that's not the only one. It's like a swarm, right? There's a lot of swarms, a lot of
ways of doing business.
Yeah.
There's not just one business.
What do you mean?
It's like a lot of ways of doing business. There's the different aspects of business.
Making money moves. There's the consumer that, like we said earlier. And then there's the where you just want, well, I guess consumers still wanting their data and their time. Like we were saying earlier.
Is a consumer a business?
The consumer is part of the business. You need a consumer.
Can you consume as a business?
Yes, definitely.
Well, you're consuming.
There's B2B.
As a business.
Yeah.
B2B, B2C.
So there is no way around it. In order for the economy to grow, in order for anyone to grow, there has to be some kind of consumption.
Correct.
Consumption is not evil in itself.
Consumption is not evil.
Because
this is more philosophical question.
Yeah,
business.
About business.
Yeah, you're right.
We're going to be serious.
Be serious, guys.
Yeah,
No
I mean,
fashion.
you need a consumer regardless of whatever it is that you're selling. Data. Products.
I feel like we're all over the place. All right, so sorry, I was posting this.
So you were not in the conversation.
You're not present.
You're not present here.
I was
listening. You're in the virtual world.
I was listening, but I was trying to get us more viewers. So I think we should.
And I'm out. I gotta go to work.
Just work right here.
We should recenter the conversation. Okay. So ask the question again.
He said there's different ways. The main question or the main topic was that there's different ways of doing business, and I wanted to understand a little bit more about what are those different ways.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, what is maybe one way of doing business compared to the other?
In your opinion, what do you...
So we were saying you need a consumer regardless whether it's because there's
Straight
business to
chaos.
business. Well, once Luis leaves, it all just falls apart. There's business to business. There's business to customer. So there's different ways of business. But he was saying you still need a consumer regardless of what it is. And then he said, consumer is not evil.
Consumerism. Consuming is not evil. Because we're always told that the reason why we have so many problems is because capitalism and consumer culture. But consuming in itself is not a bad.
So that's where Luis said that's more of a philosophical thing, right?
Yeah, right.
And I do agree, in a sense, it has to get philosophical, because at what point is what you have enough?
Yeah.
So consuming is not the problem, but over consuming, not being happy with what you have, keeping up with the Joneses, taking more on your plate than you can handle, then it becomes a problem.
A problem for who? If we're talking business. Is it a problem to the business? Or that's your goal? You want to whatever.
Well, you can either milk the cow to starvation and then you don't have a cow anymore, or you can maintain the cow or the duck that keeps giving you golden eggs instead of killing it to eat it.
Why not just make more ducks? More
You
cows.
can either sell a movie ticket one time, or you can charge $10 a month for 20 years like Netflix.
Correct.
So what customer do you want? A one ticket or a 20-year customer that pays you $10 a month?
And then another way of doing business is you create an experience around this movie. So you come into my place with a huge screen, some awesome surround sound, comfortable seats, nice warm popcorn,
For only $10.
cold soda, where I make this an experience versus, oh yeah, you can just watch this at home.
Right.
So that's a different way of doing business.
Correct. And I
We're
think
getting back to
there's
that.
as long, but I think the main goal was just when I said that is just when you consume too much, then who is it the problem for? Is it the problem for the person consuming, or is it become an issue for the business owner? The business owner, that's what you want. Whatever it is you're selling, movies, tickets, products, propane.
My point was that it might be good for the businessman or the business owner or the business at that time that one consumer is consuming everything at once. But once that happens, that consumer may not be able to do that next month because you milk that customer.
Dry.
Yeah, now he has to pay for his lease or his car, and he doesn't have money for it, so he's not going to come to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just take little by little, then in the long run, your business might benefit more than right away than the quick dollar.
So I think what would matter there is just what kind of business it is, because if it's a business where it's like we said earlier, Louis Vuitton, where someone that's low income can only buy one every 6 months. So then Louis Vuitton's like, well, we're not really focused on them. We appreciate them too, but we're focused on the guy that's going to come get one every other week, or the woman that's going to come get one.
I think a company like that builds their wealth off of status. You're no longer selling a purse, you're selling a status.
Correct.
So I'm walking around with this one of one purse that no longer has value in dollars. This is one of one.
Right.
I don't care how much money you have. I have the one.
The one. Right.
So as a business owner, you have to first figure out what kind of business you want to do, who your ideal clients are, and then build everything around that. Or you can start testing different ways out to see what works better for you.
And I think that's where his part would step in. What's your goal? Are you trying to make a quick buck now, or are you trying to stay in business long term, right? So I think that's one thing that I've learned throughout the 4 or 5 years now that I officially count, where it's like I'm no longer looking for that one person to come in and spend a big amount of money. I want the recurring customers, and I think we're all kind of in that same area where we looked at, and instead of, one way you can do it is lower your prices, try to be the cheapest, so they always come to you. But overall, it's like you said earlier, the service. Like, what is your dollar buying you? Is it just buying you that product, or is it buying you everything else that comes with it that some people might not think they look into, but they do? You know, I think we've talked about that before here, where you go to a restaurant and it's more expensive, but it's everything in that restaurant that makes it worth you going there. Not just that carne, I can get it over there for $10. Here it's 40. But am I going to feel this way? Am I going to be welcomed this way? Is it going to feel this way?
Picking up a fork and not having to wonder where the lime is so I can disinfect it before I put it in my mouth.
I never used lime.
When I was a kid, we grilled with propane, and I went.
Salesman.
We went to the propane shop over here off of Fraser
To buy propane?
And propane accessories. And as a kid, who cares about going to buy propane? Nobody cares about going propane. But once I went to that store where you can see a big old bear and then all these like animals that are inside, like who cares about propane? But
Are you buying propane at the zoo?
Yeah, right. I was like, kind of. Felt like it.
Basically, yeah, it's like, I guess the guy hunted or something. But I wanted to go fill propane all the time because of all these heads and these not dissected.
Oof, you
What are
sound
they
like
called?
Donald or what's that?
Taxidermied. Huh? Donald.
Embalmed? No? Different.
Something about they dry them up,
Right.
make them look pretty.
Yeah.
It was so nice. That experience made a kid want to go and get their propane
Right.
filled. You know,
There
who
you
gives
go.
a damn about, you know.
So when you heard that we're going, you're like, hey, sign me up.
Yep.
But it's the same thing when the kids now hear store, right? They hear store and they're like, I'm going to get something out of here.
So
Like,
did that guy have a bunch of kids come by and buy propane?
I'm sure. If you're a Conronian, you must have gone and got propane filled there. Like that was the main
spot.
one in Fraser back in the day.
back in the day. Now there's a different one in town.
What's the main one in Connor now?
Cowboy Joe's propane.
Does it have an address?
13900 Highway 105 East over there at Cunshoot, Texas.
Oof.
That's the one.
Right off of 105. And what's the other intersection? It's not
It's
Woodland.
just 105.
It's just 105?
105.
There's no intersection?
Uh,
I know that is the yeah.
Yep.
Well, so now that you're in the business, now you've been there, what, a month and a half, 2 months now? Like officially converted over?
Two and a half months.
Converted over.
Yeah.
Well, because you worked at Verizon and you still managed.
Yeah.
Well, so now you're fully 100% there.
Yeah.
You're a Mormon now. You're a propane guy.
Propane and propane accessories. Oh, yeah.
Access. But that's what you look for in your business, no, right? Adding more than just selling
Yeah.
that tank.
Yeah.
And the
Because
refill.
yeah, a lot of times you go to these fill stations and they,
Just say it.
it's not the nicest customer service, just because there's no need for that. You don't need to be super nice in a propane.
You're coming to me for propane,
Right.
and I'm just gonna give it to you.
Exactly.
Right, like
exactly.
I have what you need, so you're coming no matter what.
Yeah. So I try to make it a good experience. Like there's a lot of people that come, and they're used to,
Being bland.
yeah, and they're surprised. They're like, "Oh man, I went over there, and it's not like this." They come to our shop and they see also heads. Like there's a moose, big old moose. There's a bunch of deer everywhere. It's kind of like what I wanted, what I liked,
Right, when you were young.
and it kind of turned into that. So it was kind of cool. I mean, we don't have a bear over there, but
Add it to the list.
I added to the list. I'm gonna have to go to
You spoke it into existence.
California.
You're pretty
Probably
pretty
not
much-
legal.
Yeah, so he's not gonna go get a bear.
No,
anytime soon.
no. Yeah, but yeah. Oh man, you should listen to the singing cowboy over there at Cowboy Joe's, Sonny Gilly. He has great customer service. He makes me laugh all the time, man. He sings. He's real cool. So it's really an experience to go there. You go to this town called Cut and Shoot,
That's scary.
and then you go fill your propane, and there's heads everywhere, and there's a cowboy making you laugh.
You stop by to get propane, and you get serenaded.
Oh yeah, he's beautiful
Okay.
voice.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go listen to this guy sing.
Yeah,
What do you do different in your business that's not your traditional?
By different, you mean like from the other people that are in my
The line
the
of
same
field.
line?
Yeah.
Okay. I think for me, it's just like Jesse said. I'm big on customer service. I'm not, as I should be more out there on social media, marketing more. But I think for me, it's like I give space and time to my clients. So I never just give you my price over the phone. I like to sit down with people. I've been doing this for a while now, so I have a lot of experience with things. I want to see where you're at in the process and how I can help you achieve the rest of the things that you need to do along the way. I have a list of people that I that are in the same field of work of like the parties, where people that make food, DJs, photo booths. So if you're starting the process and I'm your first stop, I hope that after you talk to me, you have a pretty good idea of where you can go to finish the process. So for me, it's all about how can I help you make this process a lot easier. And then obviously the work just speaks for itself. If people come to me, is because they've seen my work,
Right.
and hopefully they like it. One of the advantages that I always speak about that I have is that people give me creative freedom. That's just because people see my work and they just trust me to do what I do.
Correct.
So one of the things that I think is just different is just me giving you the specific, the time that you deserve, and then hopefully helping you out in the way or to where I can minimize that stress of having to do the rest of the way, just because I've built a network of connections, that I can help
Guide you into the rest of your
Correct.
whatever it is. And I think that's important because sometimes people might have an idea of what they want, and they'll be like, you know what, let me let the expert do his thing and go from there. So is it mainly like you think sometimes some of these other photographers or that are in the same line of you just kind of stick to like, this is how we're going to do it, this is the only way, and that's it? They don't listen to a lot of customers, or based on the feedback that you probably listened to?
I can't speak for nobody else's, the way nobody else does business. The only thing I really focus on is how I do it and how I can make, like I said, my client's experience easiest. I have heard some stories, but everyone does business their own way. If it's
Correct.
working for them, then, good for them. I try to listen to feedback. I'm always, the reason why we have these conversations is because I'll tell you things, and then you guys also give me that feedback. So I think it's important to always listen and be changing the way you do things, hopefully to make the process easier for your customer. So Jesse, you can get propane anywhere, but why not go get it from Jesse where you get, experience?
Correct.
He has propane and propane accessories that you may need to, what was that thing that you said? You're not allowed to sell propane and then just have it rolling in the back of a truck, right?
So yeah, for instance, somebody comes in and there's that probability of them going and doing something stupid with that propane cylinder, like rolling it around in the back of their truck, then you may be held liable in court because of something that happened. So because of that, we have milk crates where you can put your propane tank cylinder, not a tank, cylinder. And it covers us, and it puts you in a safety.
Gotcha. And that's thinking outside of the box, I think, as well. Adding that, because I'm sure there's some that just, I don't care, take it. Because, when you go to H-E-B or any other place, they just give you the tank and you walk out.
Yeah, so as long as they don't put it there for you, you put it there. So if I put it on their truck, then I'm held liable. So,
You just grab it.
Yeah.
Juan said the one on Fraser takes forever to refill.
Yeah. Come on down to cut and shoot.
Cut and shoot right down 105. That's good. And I think that as business owners, people have to understand that. Like earlier, I was having a conversation with somebody on Messenger, just, giving some ideas back and forth. And it's kind of like having that closed-minded to not enter into like the new and upper, which is social media, which is promoting, which is some different marketing. And he's like, they have the old school thinking of just stand there and sell. And I think as business continues to change, because it has changed from what it was 40, 50 years ago, even to me, even 10 years ago, business has changed. And being able to adapt that into your business is very, very important. Or what do you guys think? I mean, propane's that, like, I don't want to say it's an old business, but that's something that's been going on for years. It's not something new.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, we have it old school. We write everything down. Yeah, it is very personable over there right now. David used to sell produce there, and a lot of the people back like that used to go buy produce back in 2002 are still going to us to buy propane now, and they'll sit there, have a coffee, we'll talk a little bit. There's like 5 chairs there. We'll have some conversations. They'll come and talk to David, talk to Cowboy, the singing cowboy, Sonny Gilly. And, it's very old school, like an old school business kind of, like you say. Mm-hmm. But we're starting to put everything on social media. We're starting to advertise more, get we're probably going to get like a wireless chip reader for cards.
Ooh. Think they're ready for that?
Next step.
But do you feel like that's a necessity that you need to do? Or like sometimes I've heard in different times where it's like, why fix something that's not broken?
Yeah, so it's a little time that we would save, but it'll also make the experience for the customer better. So right now you go to the office, pay, then take your tank and get it filled. So what I want is if there's some kind of line or something, you just go drop your tank off and I can take your payment there. You don't have to go anywhere. It's just one time you go. Yeah. That way, if there's line, they don't have to wait. They don't have to go inside or anything like that. Now, if they want to go inside and talk and have a conversation, we have coffee there. Sometimes my mom brings conchas.
Ooh, let me know when she takes them. I'll be there.
Yeah, usually Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And to add to your question, it's like, is it necessary? Let's just say the answer is no. Let's say it's not necessary. Will it make everything better, even by a tiny little bit? Yes. So what he said is about convenience. So the oldest model that people have drawn up for business is the funnel. So like, let's say your funnel is here. Mm-hmm. And then you have overflow. That means things are not fitting in. So how can you expand your funnel?
Right.
Is adding the digital chip reader expanding your funnel? Yes. Is doing, one-on-one conversations expanding? Using social media expanding your funnel? Absolutely. So I think at some point you have to realize that these are all tools to help you bring awareness to customers, because the reality is you have to be in front of people's faces so they can recognize your business. So the more people you can reach, the better as a business owner. So what are we doing to help our business be successful? What are we doing to help our business get in front of people? How are we bringing value to them? So let's say I ran a social media campaign and I've been doing business the old way, where we just accept cash. Mm-hmm. So my business campaign online went well, and now we're getting a ton of traffic in, but we're doing cash. Now we have a line of people and they're all waiting and they're not going to like it because, oh man, I've heard really good things about this place, but it took me 30 minutes to get my propane, where over there it only takes me 10.
Right.
So these are all little things that you have to think of as a business owner, and that's where like investing into your business comes into mind. Is like, you always have to think about the business first. Is like, that's your baby, and you have to nurture it, you have to feed it, you have to help it grow.
Right.
And those are just things that you do to help everything. It's not just about, oh yeah, now you can pay with the chip.
Correct. But is it also maybe, like you said earlier, having your business plan and what consumers you want to have, and maybe you want to have that more one conversation. Your goal is to keep them there and like talk to them and give them that service, or maybe your goal is I just want more transactions per day, And maybe does that change some of it too as well? Like you guys love that customer service and you like that sit down with the customer one-on-one, but maybe a customer's like, man, I want it online, I want to pay them and I want to book it and just come in, show up, take the picture, get out of here. Or is it like, well, that's not my business plan, so I can't help you there. I want to sit down, I want to talk to you, I want to see what the idea is, what's the goal, how many people are in the picture, or are you like, what are you trying to reach?
I'll let you go first.
Like
In real estate, there's a saying that says you work with those who you want to work with. Like, why would I work with somebody I don't click with? Like, that's a referral. Go on to the next realtor. Like, if you don't like the way I work, then I can refer to you to someone who will work that way for you, and you both are going to have the great experience.
Right.
So that, to me, that might be the better alternative, is to realize that you guys may not work together. Now, if there's a little flex there, like if you just want to text and I just need to ask you a few questions, like talking about, if I ask you a few questions, that's all I need. If you can't answer a few questions on the phone or face to face,
What are you wearing?
well then yeah, here's this photographer. He's all digital. He'll take care of you. That's the way. That's my thought process. That's the way I think.
So the advantage to that is like understanding that everybody doesn't have to work with you all the time. Just because somebody's not your customer today doesn't mean they can't be 5 years from now.
Like that.
So you always, that's where I say, like having a network of people is like, I know other photographers too. And if somebody comes and reaches out to me and says, I would like to book with you, I sit down with them, I go over my prices, I go over everything that, my packages include, and they're like, okay, I can't do that. I'll try to work with them as much as I can, but you can't work with everybody. So I always say, hey, we can't make this work this time, but I do have another friend that I believe can help you out. Here's his number. You send that over to them, and hopefully they can have a good experience with him. Obviously, it's somebody that you've already, spoken to. You kind of know how they work. You don't just want to give somebody a referral of anybody that you just don't know, because you don't know. That always comes back to you.
correct.
So
Because they'll say you sent me there and it was horrible. So
they
now
have
it's-
a good experience with them, and they have that process. 2 years from now, they come back with their other daughter that's turning 15, and now they're like, hey, we would like to work with you this time. We really like your work, so we can make it work this time.
Gotcha.
So it's like you don't ever want to just push people away. You always want to treat them the best that you can, because your client today is not the same client from 5 years from now.
Mhm.
And if you can't work with him today, that doesn't mean you can't work with him in the future.
Correct. And I like that you said that you can't make everyone happy. And I think a lot of times as business owners, sometimes we want everybody, right? Like, oh, that customer's mad that I didn't have this part, or that customer's mad that I couldn't provide this service. And you're like, okay, I need to have this service now. And then like no one, and I've run through that issue a lot where customers will tell me, hey, do you have this product? Like, no, but I can get it for you. And then now I'm like, okay, so I tell the employees, okay, one person asked for it. Okay, two people asked for it. Okay, now maybe it's time to bring it in.
You're
Before
starting to see interest versus
Correct.
just that one person wants.
Correct, and it was just more like, you want it? Yes, get it ordered. Hey, can you, can I buy this? Can I buy that? And I'm sure maybe you go through certain things like that. Where people might want certain parts or certain things that you provide. And I think that's the main thing that people need to understand, that as long as you have that business plan, I think that's where a lot of people, and even I skipped that part where it was just like, I'm just gonna open my doors and just sell to the world, and everybody's gonna run in here. And having that idea of who are you and what you really want to sell and who you want to do business with is very, very important. And when I sat down with Luis and we went over the brand, he was sending me the same thing. Well, what do you want, right? So there's like some pipes that you can sell that cost like 3 cents literally. You sell them for $9.99. That's like, heck yeah, right? Like that's everybody's dream. But that type of business is not the business that I wanted. The people that come in is not the business. So then it was like, you start balancing, like, am I here for the money? So you balancing money or you're balancing what, right? So it's then I started, and I made that decision way before I had to sit down with Luis and talk to it, but it was just having that idea, like, who do I really want and what do I want my business to mean, right? Because at the end of the day, your business is your baby and it represents who you are. So that's also very important. It's not just like, oh, I'm making money off of this and I'm going to live free for the rest of my life. It's like...
And just a little side note, we are speaking out of a place of privilege, I believe. Not privilege because we've had everything handed to us, but because we've been doing what we're doing for quite a while. We understand how business works. A lot of people, when they're starting off, they're just trying to make ends meet. They're just
Right.
trying to work. They're trying to open the doors, and they're trying to make everybody happy because they need every penny that they can.
Right.
It's hard for you to start valuing the long run whenever you can't pay your lease this month. You're trying to do everything. You're trying to make everybody happy. You're trying to sell anything you can. But I think it's like you said, it's very valuable for you to start looking at who do you want to sell to. And I mean, you have examples like Chick-fil-A. What does Chick-fil-A sell? How many items do they have in their menu?
Not many.
McDonald's has a bunch of items, and they're like the number one
Fast food.
fast food in the world, but that's because of just the sheer numbers of locations that they have and the way
Right.
their business is structured. But I think Chick-fil-A is the most profitable
I would definitely believe
of
yes.
the business, and they're just selling chicken sandwiches, like I forgot how many items they have in their menu. It's
They
not
don't really have many. Like it's very slimmed down to what they have, and they're closed on Sundays. So you're able to take a business and close it. I mean, well, my business doesn't close, but certain businesses, and you close them on a
You
certain.
heathen.
You close them on. Do you guys close? What days do you guys close?
Sundays.
Sundays?
Day of the Lord.
No, they're the Lord. So, but to me, that's very impressive to be able to do those numbers, and you're closed the whole day compared to McDonald's is open. But I think that was their idea. This is who we are. This is who the business that we run. This is who we want to cater to, and we're going to do it. And I think any business plan should work as long as there's data and ideas behind it that provide it.
And that's not to discredit all the work that they've done behind the scenes. I don't know this for a fact, but I heard somebody saying that
Was it on TikTok?
that they literally practice, how their customers are going to come in, how they're going to greet them, all before they send that, to what is it called? Before you they train the people that are going to train people in locations where they practice everything. Literally,
Okay.
how their parking lot is structured, where cars are coming in, how the lines are going to look,
Right.
where people are going to. They practice everything before they send people out to train in the actual locations. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of us,
Don't see.
fail to see. But as a business owner, we have to pay attention to everything and realize that everything that looks easy usually is not as easy as it looks.
No. So funny story. When I worked for Subway, I was a GM for Subway, and we were at, I think when I got with them, they had 10 Subways. When this happened, they had about 20, and they took us to this Chick-fil-A here on 105. The owner takes us, and it's me and three other supervisors. And he's like, "Hey, sit down." We ordered, and he's like, "You see that guy? He's walking around wiping tables. This guy's greeting. You see how polite they are. You see how they are. This is what I want in my stores. This is what we need to do." And I think the owner had a very good idea, and he wanted to bring that to his Subway stores. But then sometimes, what we told him there was like, okay, that guy gets $15 an hour. This guy gets $15 an hour. They have benefits. They have the extra income. We at Subway have 2 employees. 3 if we're lucky. So I think it's also understanding the type of business that you are and where you're at the time to be able to provide that. And I think that's very important, because sometimes I think a lot of people that talk to me or like ask me certain questions are like, "I want to be here. What do I need to be there?" Okay, well, where are you now? And you need to get there. You can't me, I would love to have 3 or 4 employees there at the store, and like as soon as you come in, you get attended on right away, and you're in and out. But we're not there yet. We're at 2 people now, so it's better. But I think it's understanding where you are as a business and then reaching those goals little by little, not just trying to be like, I want to be the next big box company. It's like you can be there and you'll be there, but it's little steps like what you said earlier, making small changes that'll add that little convenience, and then you start growing from there. And I'm sure you started there too, where you started maybe certain services, and now you're adding way more services than when you first started, right? So
Yeah, I think part of what I do is also value based. the reality is anybody can take a picture now. You know, we all have phones that can take great pictures, but what's different about my stuff than yours is a lot that goes on kind of like behind the scenes. Like I said, it's me helping you create the whole entire wedding day as pleasurable for you. So one thing I always tell people is like, I know how this goes. I know it's, for me, it's just, you know, I don't want to make it sound like it's become very monotone, but I know the process of the day. I know what time I have to get there. I know what shots I have to get. At the beginning, I had a shot list where I was like, okay, I need to get this, I need to get that. Now I know all of that.
Right.
I know that whenever the ceremony starts, where I need to stand, so all of that process for me is very ingrained in me. And I have to remind myself that the people that are getting married don't have that.
Right.
They don't know all of that. So it's my responsibility to tell you, hey, you know, on your wedding day, we can do, and I give them different options. You can do this, you can do that. So all these things that I'm doing are the things that are creating the value that an iPhone, that your cousin with your iPhone is not going to give you.
Right.
So I think like that's where, as far as like my business is, I can add value that way versus just like, oh yeah, I can get you pretty pictures. So we're adding more to than just the final picture. Which, and you know, I hope is still gonna be of your liking.
Right. And what about you, Jesse? Anything different that you do, or like that's different compared to what the traditional propane shop on Fraser would do?
Well, no, I don't want to compare myself
Anybody,
to
or the
other
one
businesses.
in Chicago.
Yeah, they don't do.
Well, we're not even competitors because, you know, I'm out there and cut and shoot.
Right.
Yeah, it's just customer service. Like when
That's
you
just
get
the
there, we're right there. On social media, if you have a question, like we're not afraid to tell you, like where to go. Like if you ask us questions, we're gonna answer your questions.
Even
like,
if you can't answer it in house, or even if you don't have it in house, you guide them.
Yeah,
in the right
exactly.
direction.
Where to go, you know, the supply store, whatever, you know, we're basically a customer service there. Like we're kind of like a Chick-fil-A focuses on customer service. Like that is the biggest thing there at Cowboy Joe's is we're just talking like there's a book called The One Thing, and it talks about Chick-fil-A, Apple, all these companies that focus on one thing. Like right now, Apple, even though they sell many different other things, right now their thing is still the iPhone. That's the main focus. Well, before it was the iPod, and before it was the iMac, before the iPod.
Oof. Yeah.
So they just focus on one thing, and they're masters at it. They're masters marketers at that. They're just all their marbles go there, kind of like the chicken sandwich with Chick-fil-A. I was gonna mention that Chick-fil-A, it almost feels like, you know, that welcoming feeling when you walk into a Christian church.
Mm-hmm.
That's like how I feel when I go into Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I wonder if they took that model of what Christians use in a church and put it into business.
I think so.
That would make sense since
Just very polite, very just. What do they say?
welcoming.
My pleasure.
My pleasure.
Yep.
Always. And I almost, is that true real quick that if they don't say my pleasure, you get something like a free sandwich or something? I've heard that before. No.
I don't always get my
Yeah,
pleasure.
because the other day I didn't get one. I was like,
I need my sandwich.
Yeah, I was like, do I say something? Do I not? But I love their system, and their system is just well put together. And even though there was a long line the other day, we were like,
It doesn't take long with a long line.
I have a question for you guys. So, and this has happened to me before, where I'll go to, let's just say I'll go to McDonald's, and I order my meal, and I don't get fries. No. Let's just even do it even better. I'll get a salad, and I don't get the salad dressing.
oh my God.
And I get to my destination, I open the bag, and it's not there, and I get so mad.
Yes.
Like, God dang it.
Yes.
But the same thing has happened at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, you too?
And I haven't gotten mad. Why? Why is that? Is that psychological thing? Like, they are so kind all the time that I'm like,
Boy, something must have happened.
It's a human mistake.
It's
Happens
that
to
one.
the best of us.
That is probably the only time they've ever messed up, huh?
Now I'm more mad. I get mad.
No, I don't.
Maybe not as mad. And I will say, because once I call them, they're like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, they calmed me down.
This
Like,
guy called.
yeah, I called. I was mad. It was for a pregnant customer that we had.
Oh, okay.
And I had Chick-fil-A, and then the lady was pregnant. And then it happened once, and then it happened again. And then this time it was for Jimena, and it was that time of the month. So it was like,
Oof.
so I was
Life or
like, this
death.
is the second time. And they're like, oh, we're so sorry. And I was like, oh, yeah, I told them, man. I told them, like, man. But I was like, nah, okay, I get it. It's cool. Just want to let you know, guys. Just, it happens. Cool. Like, I feel like I was apologizing to them. But I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it does happen.
I know it happens.
And I was like, yeah, no, I told them, and that next time, I'm going to go in there and we're going to fight.
Stop questioning the Lord's chicken.
Yeah.
Oof. And we were talking about this the other day. I like their marketing.
Did they call you? Did they say like, "Thanks for calling in"? You were like, "My pleasure."
Yeah, right. I should have been. I should have been. But their marketing with the cow, I think that was just
Eating more
genius.
chicken.
That was just genius. I need something like that for my store to change the marketing thing. And I think that's where I'm at now, is understanding the marketing part of it. And I think as business owners, we sometimes, at least me, when I came into the scene, it was like, oh, what? Just make a few moves and then but it's more, it's like the marketing, it's the accounting, it's the managing, it's the actual money and the business part of it. It's like so much. And this is why Luis has told me that's why he kind of tries to stay away from it, because it's just so much compared to where he's at now at Stellar. It's like, I have one job and this is my job.
Do you want to sell things, or do you want to be a business owner?
I want to be a business owner.
That sells things.
That sells things.
Yeah, I mean, there is a difference, and I think that's one of the things that we often fail to see. For me, I want to be artistic, but I also want to pay my rent. It's like, at what point do I stop looking at what I do as just art and start thinking of it as a business? So that's where I ask you, do you want to sell things, or do you want to be a business owner? We have to learn all these things. Marketing is a huge thing. And one of the things I've noticed is, a lot of us look at business and think very suit and tie, when a lot of commercials that do really well are funny. Mm-hmm. You have to, we go back to the conversation from earlier. It's like, how are you getting people's attention? You have cows misspelling words, saying eat more chicken.
Yeah.
Like, how are you not going to see that?
Right. And that was like part of it. And it's like, before you'd be like, what horrible business. I don't even know how to spell right. But that's the marketing plan.
That is,
That's the goal.
As I'm eating my hamburger.
Right. Right. It is like, I think it's real good. And I think, Leah, like you said, we have to understand being a business owner or selling things. Yeah. And I think that's the important part that I'm learning. But I think my main thing is what I'm tired of. Well, not tired. What I want to get out of being is I don't want to be self-employed. Like, I don't want to be, how do you say it? Right. So a business owner owns the business and runs it. But then sometimes you're in there all day. If you're in there all day, it's just a job. I forgot how they say it.
So you're either working in the business or working on the business.
There you go. So I'm trying to shift into working on the business and not working. But I do miss that aspect of it. Like, every once in a while when I do have to cover a store and I talk to the customer, I'm like, man, I miss this. Like, how you been? What's up? And you just talk and talk. Like, okay, thank you, man. No problem. Cool. Like,
but you can do that if you want to.
But I don't. I do, but I don't.
You can get those dopamine hits once in a while.
Everyone, so I mean, I do that, and I like it because I do step in there like, hey, boss man, we haven't seen you. Like, oh yeah, just been busy, this and that. Like, oh, okay, cool, But it's still like figuring out, like, do I really want to work on the business, or do I really enjoy being in front of the customer? Based on, I think it's both. I think it's both of them.
That's a good balance.
To both, being half and half. But it's finding the way now to just duplicate that. And how is it for you? Do you have employees?
Mm-mm.
Ever?
No.
Is that on the goal?
I tried sending stuff out for people to edit, but I found myself not doing anything, and I was like, no, I need to I need to start doing everything myself. If I thought about expanding, taking on more customers a year, I would probably, sometimes I'll hire a freelancer for video. That's about it. But as far as like more employees, no. And I think the way I have it structured right now, I would rather just create more value to where I can, basically make packages that are a little bit more expensive versus hiring more people and just taking on more work. So I would take on the same amount of people but just charge more versus taking on twice the workload and charging the same.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I have contractors and for my real estate, and I also hire a few people for photography, real estate photography. I don't do anything else.
Oh.
And I have one right there at Cowboy Joe's. He's there every day basically, except Mondays.
Except Monday and Sundays.
And Fridays and Sundays.
But every day.
Every other day.
But so you said you don't want to work more. But if you had employees, wouldn't you work less? Or if you pass some things on?
Yeah, and that's what I was telling you. I tried it out, but
you have to do the work.
I didn't.
If it's not done right, it's not up to your par. It's not.
No, it's not that. I think it was just like. Well, first of all, I enjoy part of the editing process. So everything is like, first is shooting, then there's editing, and then there's like, post-process of like delivering and all that stuff. I enjoy the editing part. I think if I didn't enjoy it, I probably would send it out for, to have it done. But if I don't do that, I don't do anything. Because realistically, what I could do is hire somebody to go shoot, then probably send it out to somebody else, outsource it to get edited, and they would all just be under my name. But then I don't get part of that experience. So for me, it's like you talk to your customers. That's me being part of the process as well.
Okay.
So I enjoy what I do. And if I just started outsourcing everything, it's like it takes half of the fun away from me.
Do you think you would ever be able to work, like not be at the shop, at the store, and just be in the back office all day long? Or do you also enjoy that interaction part?
Yeah, I like the interaction for sure. I like talking to people. A lot of these people have really good ideas and are older and just like to talk. Yeah, they're very wise. But yeah, I mean, right now, he's right there. Roger's right there at the store. He's taking care of everything right now. Yeah. And when I'm there, I'll go in the office and do my thing back there, and he's taking care of business.
Did you have the paperwork in mind when you were like, I'm going to be a business owner, I'm going to have fun doing paperwork and all this other stuff? We don't think about that part, huh? We don't think about that.
Yeah.
Do?
No. For me, like I said, it started just like, it's always been a hobby. It's always been a thing that I've done. And when I was not working, I started picking up a camera and I just started doing it. And it morphed into what I do now. It was not intentional. I didn't think, I'm going to start picking up my camera so I can do this for the rest of my life. It's just the way it started,
shifting into it.
Yep.
Do you think people should follow their passion or make their passion into their business? Or you, Jesse, what do you think? Is that...
Like, I grew up around a family that used to buy and sell. Not necessarily business owners, but just buy and sell all the time. So when I was little, my grandma used to take me to Laredo to go buy stuff, and then she'd resell it at the en el mercado in Mexico. My dad would take me to another mercado where he used to go and sell his stuff. And then my grandfather was an electrician, but he worked for himself. He would go and mess with people's meters so they paid less electricity. So I grew up around always a family of buying and selling. So when I grew up, I didn't even think about, I always thought, I don't know what I'm going to be. I don't know what I'm going to be. I don't know. But I always fell into that sales thing. I've always sold something.
Primed at a very early age.
Very early age. And I, for years, I'm like, man, everyone knows what they want to do, and I don't, as I'm already selling stuff.
Right.
I'm already there, and I didn't know I was there. So Ended up.
Does that mean you found your why?
Well, I don't know if that's a why, but that's what I do.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
So you think people should follow their whatever their passion is and make it into, maybe not make it into a business, but if you are in the field of I want to do a business, I want to do something else, would it be follow your passion or just follow something that makes money or find something that makes money?
There's two different thoughts there. Some people say follow your dreams, do what you love to do. There's other people that say if you want to hate what you love, then make it a business. If you want to stop liking what you love, then make it a business.
What do you think, Sonia?
I agree. I was a few years back, I used to DJ too, and people used to tell me, "Oh, I bet you have fun," and I was like, "No." As soon as, at least that's the way I took it. As soon as I start charging people for what I do, it stops being for me. Then this is for you, and I need to do the best job possible, and that takes on responsibility on me. So I agree with that thought. Like if you want to hate what you do, you make it into a business. That there is some truth to that. But I also agree that, follow your passion, because like I said, for me, movies, pictures have always been a thing that I've been into. I started doing it because I had my accident and I had a lot of off time. And even though I didn't think that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life, if this is what I do for the rest of my life, I don't think I'd be happier. It's just, I really enjoy the whole process of it.
Like if you stop taking pictures for other people, you're going to keep taking pictures.
Yeah.
That's not going to stop.
No, but I also enjoy the interaction. I also like to sell, so I enjoy sitting down with people. Yeah. And like that whole
brainstorming, like creative, that whole
there's a lot of things that are involved into what I do, and I really enjoy all of it. Now I will say this, the older I get, the more I realize there are people that are better at some things than others.
Correct.
And I think one of the things that Luis brought up earlier is about Gary Vee. He pushed a lot, just start selling things, just be your own boss. Yeah. And I think that's also really hard for a lot of people. You get motivated, you go to this events,
they pump you up.
You hear this person and you get energized and you go out and you want to start doing things. You want to eat the world in one day. And then that runs out. And then you realize, oh, well, now I have all these things that I need to pay. And so for me, I've always handled stress really well. I don't get super anxious, like as a business owner, you have to understand that there's going to be months that are going to be good, some that are not going to be as good. And if you're freaking out and instead of like doing something productive, you just start freaking out, that's not going to be a very fun time for you. It's like, oh yeah, I'm doing my passion, but now I'm suffering 24/7 because I don't know how my lease is going to be paid.
Yeah, you're not going to like your passion.
Definitely not gonna like it. Yeah, I think that's a very important part that you bring up, like understanding. And I've realized that you guys know me for like the grind, and I've realized that I mean, I've always known business is not for everybody, right? Because we still need, lawyers and doctors. We still need some of that. But I've realized even more recently that it's just, it's not for everybody. And people also need to understand that it's not for everybody. Because it is jam-packed in your face, and Instagram and Lamborghinis and girls and this and money and chains that you're like, oh, I want that. But it's not that lifestyle, and it's years to get there. They got there, but it wasn't like overnight. They all have that. Like Gary Vee, he talks about his story. It wasn't overnight. People see him now in shows and this, but he wasn't always there.
Like, how much time do these people have to use these things? Is it just for the picture?
También. It could be that too. I mean, but that's what we talked about earlier. It's just what people want is the consumption. It's what they want to see. Nobody wants to see the boring guy struggling to get his business working. They want to see him already at the finish line. Like, oh, he made it. Like, it's possible.
So they don't like it. People like a come-up story, but just not while it's happening.
While it's coming up, yes.
And also, you have to understand that everything is a tool. So if you're a salesperson, you want to sell that person the dream that everything can be achieved and is not as hard as people may think. but it really is.
It really is. And
It's like nothing really comes easy.
nothing.
I mean, everything is subjective, and you can decide, like, well, I woke up today, I have to go to work, I have to do this, I have to do that, and I have enough for my lease this month. Okay, we're good to go. And lost my train of thought. And
Pay the lease.
yeah, so I was saying everything is subjective. I lost it.
It's gone.
A saber vos.
¿Quién sabe qué fue, man? Pura paja, man.
Joder.
So, es lo que yo le quiero decir a la gente, que no es para todos y la gente tiene que entender eso. Pero los videos que hemos visto y están todos, me los mandan a mí, social media me los pone ahí todos enfrente para que yo siga yendo y no es todo así. Y yo creo es la diferencia. Y mucha gente comienza un negocio y dice, hey, no la hice, ya perdí dinero, agarré un préstamo y valió más. And then even with like Jimena's business, we talk about that all the time. But no sé cómo decirlo, pero los de este color, like they sell the dream even harder, right? Where they're like, go get a loan, $10,000, $12,000, hazte una tienda y vas a vender. Y vas a hacer dinero. Y aquí han cerrado ya muchos que like no es así, pero les venden esa idea because it's like, si puedes. If you would get up at 4:30 in the morning and you sell these and you get it done, you're going to achieve what you want to achieve, right? Pero it's not always like that for these people.
See, the reality is people shouldn't complain
when
they don't put in the work.
Correct.
That's what they tell you.
And
But they also tell you, be your own boss, make your own hours.
Flexible. You want to go to your kid's soccer game, don't you?
But they also don't tell you that you're staying up till 3 a.m, that you're working every day. So that's the reality of being a business owner, is like there's no days off. Yeah, there's pros and cons, and people need to be aware of it. Like we were talking about earlier, you have to be aware of all these things, and then you make the best decision. And there is no right or wrong decision. It's just you just do it. And if you fail and you give up, that was a decision you made.
Correct.
That doesn't mean that you failed and you are a failure.
Like that. This whole time I've been thinking about nurses. You're a nurse, you go to work every day, you're fulfilled, you're helping people, and you're so good, you end up becoming a manager. Like you get your MBA or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now you're pushing paper and managing people instead of helping people.
NBA like the ones that where LeBron?
Oh yeah, that's a business.
That's NBA. He was like M mayúscula.
No, what is it?
NBA is
an
still a
RM.
different one.
It's
RM,
still so these people, they might get in for the money or to help people, but if you go in to help people and now you're just managing people and pushing paper, like, are you still fulfilled in that position? Like, it doesn't have to be business, it's just this position. Now you're moving up the ladder, you're being successful, but is it still the same thing? Are you still loving what you do? If you're some people are better or happier being a nurse than being a manager of a
define success.
No, yeah, I think you have to, and I saw that, we probably all saw it, but it was like the guy asked the people, is money the main thing? They're like, yeah, that's the core thing. He's like, okay, so if I gave you $1 million, but you're gonna die tomorrow, what do you want? And then he goes into, he's like,
if you gave me $1 a day,
right? So then he was like, okay, so your life's more important. And then it was like, if I give you $10 million, but your mom has to die tomorrow, okay, so family's more important.
My negotiation tactics came out like that. You gave me $1 a day till I reach $1 million.
That's 1 million days. Yeah. Would we reach 1 million days? We wouldn't reach 1 million days.
I don't think so.
No. 365 times 50 more years we have. What do you think we have?
The what?
What's the average death toll right now?
1 million days?
Probably
2,700 years is a million days.
It hasn't even been a million days
Take
since
it.
we started. Take it. Take the deal.
Yeah.
But no, I think this was good topics, and I like that, and I'm still gonna continue to push the 4:30 in the morning. Grind. You can do it. I believe in you. I see it
Why?
in you, because I believe it in you, and I see it in you.
What does that mean?
You can keep a straight face either. I can keep a straight face.
No, I'm serious. I want to know what that means. What does I believe in you mean?
That I believe you can achieve whatever you want to achieve.
But why me? I mean, shouldn't that be
You have that it
for
factor.
everyone?
For you. I don't tell that
Everyone-
to everybody.
Everyone has it.
But I don't tell that to everybody.
Only the people you're talking to.
Yes. Because remember, we established earlier, I don't talk to the people.
No, you talk to the
Oh,
people
yeah, I
that
do
you
talk,
don't even
I do
talk,
talk to the people that I don't talk to.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
No, but I have slowed my roll some on, like, it's just not for everybody. And I get it.
But what made you think that it was for everyone? That's the psyche thing that
So
I think a lot of people. Why you do what you do is like understanding why you believe the things you do.
I think the main thing that would push me onto that is because, and I'm going to give everybody the sad story that everybody has already, but it's just like coming from nothing and achieving it, right? And I don't think I'm where I'm going yet, right? But just like understanding that, like, si le echas ganas and you put in the work, you'll get some results. You'll get results out of it. So I think, like, okay, so for a lot of people that are like negative, like, my family's not from a lot, my family doesn't have a lot, like, I'm not gonna be there. Like, why not? Like,
That's your story, right?
Correct.
But what about the
Chinga,
people
ya me
that
voy a
are
cambiar.
that
Damn
are
it.
doing a lot less than you
In our way,
that are way farther ahead?
but that's not the crowd that I'm talking to. Then
So you're only talking to the people like you,
that can relate to my story.
right? But what about the other story?
What's the other story?
That someone's doing a lot less work than you, being a lot more, let's say, successful
With the
if money
same
is
background,
yeah,
that from zero
Yeah.
to hero, then I need to do what they're doing
if you want to.
if I want to be a hero.
So what is your idea of a hero?
Chingo. No, like, if my main goal is, if you want to achieve it, you can achieve it. And if you don't, and you're cool, like, I've realized that some people are just cool, working the 9 to 5, getting by, go for it. Like, hey, that's just who you are, and there's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with me. But if you want to, you can. You just gotta put in the work.
Look, The Rock wakes up at 4:30. If I wake up at 40, I'm gonna be as successful.
I knew that was coming.
That's why there's a bunch of rocks, right? It's like everyone that wakes up at that time
Automatically.
reaches the rock potential.
Yes.
You have more time in the day.
And then if you go to sleep earlier than everybody else.
What if you have more than so you have more than 24 hours
Yes.
if you wake up earlier?
Well,
Ya no comencé con esas cosas. No, it's still 24 hours. We all have the same 24 hours.
Not if you start your day every 6 hours.
Every 6 hours?
Yeah, you wake up, be productive for 6 hours, take a 15-minute nap. That means you went to sleep, woke up, start a new day.
But the day is a day, regardless.
You're not.
A day is a day.
You're thinking too linear.
is that what they're telling you?
Who is they?
Exactly.
They've been lying to you this whole time.
No, they haven't.
You can be
What
a
they've been
lot more
telling me and
productive.
putting in front of me is the truth.
You're basing your days on the Gregorian calendar, which is arbitrary. Well, not really, but
It's true.
Is it true?
Arbitrarily true.
Chinga, we were doing so good. Mira, dice Luis, you can be a creative director.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like something I would do.
director.
All right, guys. Well, thanks everybody that stopped in for part 2. We stayed pretty professional this round. The beginning and in between a little bit here and there.
Well, we're not gonna we're not gonna laugh.
This
Right,
is
but
who
it's
we
just
are.
exactly. I was gonna say it's just the type who. So real quick, so a lot of times some people used to tell me like, Ray, like, you should like, why are you always playing? Like, you're like, should be more serious, and you're a business owner and you're a dad. I'm like,
That doesn't make sense.
that doesn't, what the hell? My bills are paid, and that's like as responsible as I need to get. And
Not to diss on anybody, but that's I feel like the mentality I've had, the mentality I've seen with a lot of people that have worked a 9 to 5 is like, I can't be like this because my boss will get mad at me.
Oh.
But when in reality, I've been like this my whole life, and I've had a lot of different jobs, and because I've been like this, my bosses have loved me.
correct. Same here.
I've worked in a bank, and at the beginning, I thought, okay, I gotta be serious on this one.
Yeah.
The first 2-3 days.
No, and then you realize, everyone is just human,
Correct.
and everyone wants to do the best that they can, but they also want to have fun. So just because you have fun doesn't mean that you can't be helpful. Just because you have fun doesn't mean that you can't get your job done. But you also have to realize that you can't just bullshit your way through life.
You can't? I think you can. Oh, okay. What do you think, Jesse? Do you have to be professional all the time?
No, that's a brand within itself right there. Not being professional.
Eat
And
more
I
chicken.
think in the business world, you also know when, like a customer that you're like, okay, this one's a little bit more. Con esto no puedo decir cosas.
I
con
joke
estas-
around with all of my clients.
all of them,
All of them.
every single one.
And the people that don't joke around with me, they tend to not be my clients.
Oh, that's your brand.
I mean, you're going to work with me and I'm going to work with you. We have to make this work.
Correct.
It has to be, the feelings got to be mutual. If you don't feel comfortable with me, I can't work with you because my job is to make you feel comfortable so that the pictures can come out the best they're going to be. So if we don't click from the get-go, that's why I like to meet with people. If we're not clicking, you know what? I'm sorry. I've passed up on jobs just because we didn't click. So
Especially because it's like, is it very personal? Because also what you do is very personal.
yeah, I'm getting
You're there
within 3 feet of you and asking you to kiss your future bride.
and hold her and grab him here and hold him there and
Yeah,
hold
so
the baby like this.
Anybody that knows me or that's been to a photo shoot with me knows how I like to play around. Why? Because I want the pictures to be a little bit joyful. I think I did it with
Yeah,
you.
yeah. It was,
So-
yeah, it was good.
It's like, how do you get your clients to be comfortable around you? And that's not by you faking who you are. So the person they see here is the person that's going to bring value, tell you how to make things easier. But I'm also going to play around. And if you're just trying to be serious all the time to
Put up a
sell
front.
yourself as that, then you have to be like that always.
Correct.
So when in business should you be serious?
Me, I'm the most serious when it's a meeting with the employees and we're talking about certain topics that we have to cover, and then after that, we go back to just like, and they know, a lot of times, and they'll tell me, boss, sometimes we can tell when you come in and something's going on, so we read you. I was like, oh, okay, like that. To me, I like that because it's like, because I did try at the beginning to be a little bit too, but it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't me. Like, it was just too, and I would make a joke. I'm like, fuck, I just made a joke. And but now I'm just like joking, pero con respeto al mismo tiempo, right? Like, not too much, right? But not like, I'm not going to be serious all the time.
Like in your position, you still have to be respected.
Correct.
And
so,
and I found out the hard way, and I've told Jesse this story. I worked at Cricket. That was my first job. And I was really cool with the manager, like extremely, to a point where he and I would go eat. We started working out in the back. It was just too cool. But then one day he got a phone call. And then the next day he told me, hey, we're going to have to start getting serious. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And I was playing around and he told me to do something. I forgot to do it. Got written up. He took me outside. He was like, hey, I have to write you up. This is, first time. You get another one, then we have to fire you.
Shoot.
And I could tell that he didn't want to do it,
Right.
but he was my manager and he needed to do it.
mm-hmm.
So at that moment, I understood, I don't care how friendly we are, how cool I am with you. I still have to do my
You're
job.
still
Because
supporting it.
At the end of the day, you're not going to risk your job
Correct.
because of me.
Correct.
You're not going to risk your livelihood because of me. And I shouldn't have to make you feel that responsibility just because we're friends.
Right.
So that kind of goes out for you too. Is like, yeah, you want to play with them, but you also have to let them know, hey, we're also here for business.
Right.
So yeah, I let you guys have fun, but whenever we need to get things done, we're all business.
Mhm,
So that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Pero yeah, it's why I always spend time just playing around. I think you're there too. And that's why I asked about the customer thing, because sometimes people come in and they're like, I try to be friendly and a little extra, and I'm just like, okay, they're just not in the mood right now. And I'm just very bland. I mean, not bland, but it's still, I still like, hey, hopefully you have a great day. And something like, how you doing? Good. All right, and we keep talking. Or like this stuff, and I'm like, all right, so what are you up to today? And then like little by little, sometimes they open up and sometimes they don't, and that's fine. Pero it's supposed to be okay. Pero you, like you said, that's who you are and you're more personal, so you have to click. And with my customers, sometimes I feel I don't have to always click because they're just who they are.
Yeah, sometimes with you, like you have to read people, and sometimes it's just very transactional.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
People just want what you
and
want.
you know what? I kind of sometimes don't like that real transactional. Like, siento que no les di bien.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want that. Like, okay, what's up? What are you up to? Nothing. Oh, okay, cool. And then I'm just like, they just left with the product, but that they didn't leave.
They weren't 100%.
Yeah, like they didn't leave good.
Yeah.
They didn't
I
leave
can see
like.
that.
When I was working at Gullo, I had this guy come in, and he usually in sales they tell you like people often think they know what they want, they know what color, but sometimes you can still make the sale, and it doesn't have to be exactly what they're looking for. You just help them find what they need. I get there and I help this guy, and he's like, I know I want this, and this. The whole process probably took like 45 minutes. He was in and out. He didn't really say hi to me, say hi to anybody. He just wanted it to be just, I've already seen it online. This is everything that I want. And that was super rare because in the car business, there's a lot of back and forth talking.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, this is what I want to get to. Just, if we can make this happen, then we're good to go. And it was something that was reasonable. It was going to happen. He just signed stuff, went to the back, signed stuff, came back, got his keys and left. And
How'd you feel?
you don't have to take that personal. It's
Yeah.
just how that person is.
Yeah.
But I did feel like that
Yeah,
because, like I said, in that business, it's a lot of like, oh, how's
Susie,
what did you drive? Oh, okay, look. So how do you like that car? So do you like the color? This one has massaging seats. He was like, I know every aspect of the car. I just want it in
just dámelo. Cállate ni me
minimal.
hables.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Jesse.
Oh, you hear they're trying to ban gas stoves? That's crazy.
Did you
No.
say Donald Trump got stoves?
He did?
What'd you say?
No, did you hear
They
they're
banned
banning gas stoves?
Yeah.
No, I have a really good relationship with Roger. He's actually his wife and I are his wife and him are taking my wife and my wife and I all messed up all over the place to dinner on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we have really good conversations about religion and philosophy, and we get into it.
Record some of these
We're pretty
conversations.
close. I've been thinking about it.
You should. Just-
Yeah.
Even when they're sitting there drinking their coffee, just, hey, guys, like, I've thought about that at the shop. Because sometimes some of these conversations get pretty good. And I'm like, hey, you mind if I just push through? I mean, I record at the store.
I'm already recording you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cameras. Yeah.
You record audio as well?
Nah. Yeah. It's hard to hear, but technically,
it's,
yeah.
Okay. I record audio as well.
Yeah.
As John noticed, or he noticed right away when I posted that picture.
Oh yeah, that was
Like
pretty clear too.
Yeah. And I have another one that's like hidden.
That's
Por
what.
abajo, así. Voy para arriba.
Ooh.
We're still live, right?
Oh shit! Just playing. All right, guys. Well,
Taylor
thanks.
Secret.
Right, but all right, guys. Thanks for everybody that stopped by today. You guys know where to find Jesse and Suniga.
They don't know where to find us.
They do. You guys are regulars here. Everybody's like, oh, the regulars are coming back. So where do they find
Everyone
you?
says that.
Everyone. Jeez. Some people have said.
Everyone, all the time.
Jeez, I can't be myself
end the
around.
dang
I can't be myself around you guys. I get attacked.
You
with
can,
that
but
stuff.
you get mad at us for being ourselves.
True. No, I don't. But where do they find you?
Here, because I'm a regular, often, but
All the time here.
all the time. No, we'll leave links to our pages below if you guys want to follow, support what we do. For anybody that doesn't know us, if you guys have any questions, we're very welcoming people. We'll answer anything any way we can. And
you can find me at Cowboy Joe's Propane over there in Cut and Shoot, Texas. I'm there all the time.
propane
Every
and
day.
propane accessories.
All right, guys. See y'all later.
Bye.